Happy Monday, everybody. We are coming off of a very exciting weekend here in St. Louis, and welcome to the first of many episodes to come of Arch City Sports. We are hopefully going to be doing this daily moving forward. This is going to be a little bit of a longer episode compared to all of the ones in the future, because the ones in the future will be recaps after St. Louis Cardinals games and City games and Blues games at night. But to get us started, of course, so make sure to follow us on all platforms: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. We would love X. We would love to see you guys all over there. We really appreciate the support recently on Instagram and then TikTok, almost at 300 on both really quickly. And I think we can really grow this thing. The city of St. Louis is really hungry for sports. It's a great sports town. I feel like we can really grow this thing quickly and talk St. Louis sports on the daily basis. Um, but we have to start with the Cardinals today. We will be discussing the Cardinals' sweep of the San Francisco Giants, then moving on to St. Louis City's 1-1 draw versus Atlanta, and then going to do a little bit of a Cardinals pipeline update. Pipeline update meaning we're going to talk about the minor league system just a little bit, and I want to be doing that just about every single day, kind of keep you guys updated on what's going on in AAA, AA, and even in Single A, Peoria and Palm Beach. But starting with the major league team, the St. Louis Cardinals sweeping the Giants. We are now 39-37 going into this series against the Atlanta Braves coming up this week. Game one of this series was on Thursday, I believe. It was kind of a weird schedule. We had the Rick Wood game on Thursday, then an off day on Friday, and then we had Saturday, Sunday to finish up the series. But starting with game one in the Rick Wood Field game, I thought that was one of the coolest games maybe I've ever seen, honoring the Negro Leagues like that. Also honoring Willie Mays, who passed away a couple days before that. In my opinion, the greatest baseball player of all time. And I think they nailed every single part of that game. And then also another bright spot of it is that we got a 6-5 win out of it. Brendan Donovan, the game being in Alabama, him being an Alabama native, going 3 for 4 with a homer and 3 RBIs. And Brendan Donovan's a guy that the power is really starting to show with him. And he started off the year just like a lot of our hitters, not really producing, and he has been really powering up as of late. Now 8 homers, he hit 2 homers in this series, and Donnie could be a 20 homer guy, which coming up through the minor league system, I did not think that would be the case. Palante got us into the 6th in this game, and that's what you ask out of Palante and just about all these other starters, is get us through 6 or get us into the 6th and then hand it off to the bullpen and let them do their thing, because our bullpen, as I've talked about several times in other videos I've posted on our page, our bullpen is lights out. And they were once again on Thursday winning that game 6-5. Game 2 on Saturday afternoon, Michaelis was on the mound. We got a 9-4 win, but this had nothing to do really with anybody else on the Giants or the Cardinals besides Alec Burleson, who has 2 homers and 5 RBIs, going 3 for 4. Mason Wynn batting leadoff once again, 3 for 5 with a double. Miles Michaelis gave up 3 runs in the first inning to start off the game, and it didn't look very promising for him going deep in this one. We did have the bullpen rested after having that Friday day off, but Michaelis really settled in and showed us the veteran pitcher that he is. Veterans are able to do this a lot more times than young pitchers, where they can have a really rocky start. And we saw this with Adam Wainwright several times in his career. Get a rocky start and then kind of find that groove as he moves on. And Michaelis got us through 6 innings with 88 pitches, I believe it was, giving up 4 runs total. And that's all we gave up the entire game. So shout out Michaelis, saving the bullpen a little bit. Like I said, they were rested, but it's always good to save them. He gets us through 6 innings, hands it off to the bullpen. Leahy shut the door at the end. We win 9-4. Pretty easy going. Wasn't one of those tight games where we needed JoJo, Kittredge, and Helsley to shut it down. We had kind of the middle arms of the bullpen be able to pitch in this one, which was nice to see. And then on yesterday, filming this on a Monday morning, Sonny Gray was absolutely lights out. He's been lights out the majority of the season for us. Has had a couple rough ones, but he is now 9-4 with a 2.8 ERA, and he was he pitched six perfect innings in this one, getting into the seventh, and then Patrick Bailey hit a solo homer, and that was all he gave up. 7 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, 8 strikeouts for Sonny Gray. Um, and another huge takeaway is Ryan Helsley, who's obviously talked about a lot. Has had a couple outings where he's given up a run or two in the last probably 10 appearances that he's had, but it is now 26 straight saves for Ryan Helsley, which is a franchise record. Now I looked up the major league record, and I did not realize that Eric Gagne in the early 2000s had 85 consecutive saves, which is mind blowing. But the Ryan Helsley 26 straight saves is a franchise record, breaking Alex Reyes's record a couple years ago when he had 24 straight saves. Ryan's been lights out. He's on his way to a all-star caliber season, and we're going to dive into that all-star talk a little bit more throughout this week and next week, because we have a couple guys now that we're starting to trend upwards that could definitely make a case for the all-star game. I think Helsley's a lock no matter what, unless he absolutely blows up in these next couple weeks. But like I was saying, 26 straight saves after blowing the first one of the year. He's 26 for 27 on the year. He's been absolutely phenomenal in the back end for us, just like a couple of those guys. JoJo has had a couple rough starts as of late. Coming into these last 2 weeks, he was almost a 0 ERA. He has been almost unhittable. But JoJo's given up a few lately. He's at like a 2.8 ERA, and then Kittredge is like a 3.1. Those guys have not been as dominant, but they're still elite in the back of the bullpen, and we're very, very thankful to have them leading up to Helsley. Um, there's a couple takeaways to take from this series, though. We obviously are a team. So far this year, we've been very streaky. We've been very inconsistent. But the thing to look at right now is that we are trending upwards. Since May 12th, we are 24-13, which is the best record in the National League. That counts the Phillies, that counts the Dodgers, that counts the Braves, that counts all these juggernauts at the top of the National League. We have the best record since May 12th. Now, we sit at 39-37 after that really rough start to the year. But what we really need to focus on is not the inconsistency of this team, is let's keep this train moving. Like I said, we are red hot right now. Best team in the National League in the last month and a half. Let's keep it going. We have all the pieces. We're going to get reinforcements. Lars Nootbaar should be back soon. Tommy Edman will be back hopefully in the next 2 weeks. And Wilson Contreras is back in the next day or two. With all these reinforcements coming and guys starting to hit, Mason Wynn's hitting, Alec Burleson's hitting. The one guy that's really fallen off recently is Nolan Gorman. He's at under 200 now with his average. I don't want to say Goldie's hot, but Goldie's starting to hit a little bit, batting over 230. Get Nolan Arenado healthy, and you get Nootbaar and Tommy and Contreras in this order, in this batting order. It's going to be a very dangerous team to deal with, especially if Sonny Gray and Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson and Michaelis and Palante, if those five guys can get us through or into the sixth inning and hand off to our bullpen, we are going to win a lot of games moving forward. And I don't even want to talk about playoffs yet, but when you look at the potential of being a playoff team and what do great playoff teams have? They are able to go to their bullpen. We saw with the Kansas City Royals in 2015. That's the first team that really pops in my mind about it. If you can hand it off to your bullpen and have a bunch of arms that you can use, you are a dangerous team. And that is what we are right now. We are also going to talk about trade deadline stuff coming up in the next couple weeks, because I think there are a couple pieces that could be moved definitely in our pipeline, maybe not the major league level. And also, I think there's about 4 or 5 players that I really am interested in. Maybe not big name players, but guys that I think could really help our squad moving forward, especially in the outfield position. But we will get to that in a couple weeks. The other takeaway from this series, Mason Wynn and Alec Burleson have been you can't say enough. You cannot say enough about how good they've been for us. I think Burleson was a guy coming into the season. Some people, including myself, weren't really high on him. I know the hard hit percentage was there and the barrel percentage was there from last year, but was he going to be able to get results from it? And he really waited out all the non results that he was getting, and he's getting paid off for it now. Over 30 RBIs now. I think it's like 35 RBIs, 12 homers. This is looking like a 25 to 30 homer season for Alec Burleson, which is everything you wanted. And then Mason Wynn, we've talked several times about him already. Can't say enough about him. Great defensively. We thought maybe bat ninth for us and bat 260, and we'll call it 250 even, and we'll call it a W. He's batting almost 300, was over 300 for a while, and is such a scrappy leadoff hitter. I thought there was going to be a lot of holes in his game. This guy is the best average with two strikes in all of baseball. He had two more two-strike hits on Saturday afternoon's game. Doubled one down the line and inside out swing to right field. He is been so good. And I think the big thing with both these guys is if we put, eventually can get Goldschmidt and Gorman and Arenado going, these two guys right in front of them, they are not easy at bats. These guys don't strike out very often, low strikeout percentage for both of them, and they're just scrappy. Like I said, Mason Wynn, great with two strikes. Burleson, one of the best non-strikeout guys in all of baseball. I mentioned Donovan at the very beginning of the episode. He's another guy that doesn't strike out ever. I think eventually maybe you could put him in the 9 hole. The thing with Donovan is that you want him in RBI situations because he's been really good over now with 38 RBIs on the year. If they can put him in the 9 hole though and just like continue the cycle of guys that don't strike out, I think also another option is put Tommy Edman down there whenever he returns, or Nootbaar. We just have several guys that you can use, and it's looking very promising. But this is a huge test coming up. We are the second wild card team as of right now. We are 4.5 out of first place, but the Atlanta Braves are coming into town, and this is where if we can win two out of three, I think a lot of confidence is going to be instilled in our guys. But things are looking good right now. Like I said, 39 and 37, very fun team to watch. This is the first time in over a year and a half that we've been over 2 games or 2 or more games over 500. It's been a very hard, difficult, rough last year and a half here in St. Louis. A stretch that I've never experienced as a Cardinals fan, and a stretch that I think a lot of fans talking about the White Sox or the A's, other organizations like that have dealt with for a long time. The Reds. This is a stretch that we've never been really used to since I was born, and it's really nice to see. Hopefully, we can break us breaking this and moving in a positive direction moving forward. Moving on. St. Louis City had a match, their third game in 8 days on Saturday versus Atlanta. We had gone into this match, or I guess halfway through this match, over 300 minutes without a goal. We know about the injury problems. No Pompeu, no Rasmus Alm, no Tomas Ostrak, and no Nielsen, all out. Again, in this one, obviously, 3 of them out for the season. Over 300 minutes without a goal, like I said. In the 50th minute, I should say, Indiana Vasilev with a goal off an assist by Klaus. Atlanta scores on a PK penalty, coming off a penalty from Torrenson. And actually, Berkey made the save, and it was just, he was mad at our players for not getting there first, but it was really tough to kind of read that. He saved it, and then Rios ended up putting it in the back of the net. What I'm looking at with this team right now is, yes, I don't want to count out the entire season and rule out any potential chance of making the playoffs. I think there's a chance we squeeze it in the back part of that. But I also think this is a chance to see where we're at as an organization. Everything went well besides the ending of last year, and this year everything has not gone very well. And so, how do we respond with that? I don't really want to put Bradley Carnell's job on the line because of it. I think this is a chance to see what we got for the future. Talking about guys like Klaus and I don't want to say Pompeu because he's hurt, but Indiana Vasilev, Leuven. Like, I want to see these guys, obviously, but I'm talking about the Johnny Kleins, the Caden Glovers, the Jay Reeds, the Michael Wenzels of the world. Those 4 guys got a lot of playing time, with Jay Reed and Michael Wenzel both starting and playing the majority of the match on Saturday. I think these guys have a chance to kind of show what they've been obviously dreaming of doing their entire lives, but also shows them what potentially we have for the future. Johnny Klein, on the other podcast I have, A to Z Sports Talk, he was a guest on there about a year ago, right after he got drafted, and hopefully we can get him on Arch City here and talk more about his future. But those four guys are what I'm really focused on right now. Also, you love Leuven. And you want to see Indiana Vasilov do well, and they're worth watching because Roman Berkey's going to do some amazing things at net every night. But our next game is on Saturday versus Vancouver at Vancouver, so at 9:30 Central Time. Throughout the week, though, we'll kind of lead up into that match on Saturday. Let's finish this episode with a pipeline update. Let's look at the minor league system. We're going to focus on three guys. We're going to focus on three guys for the pipeline update today. We're going to do, like I said, with daily episodes, we can cover all the Memphis games, all the Springfield games, Palm Beach, Peoria, and kind of see where everybody's at, which will be a lot of fun. But with the pipeline update, pipeline update today, where does Nick Dunn fit in the future for the St. Louis Cardinals, or does he fit in the future for the St. Louis Cardinals? Nick Dunn is a 27-year-old middle infielder, and his whole career been a pretty solid hitter, batting .280 down there. Reminds me of personally a lot of Brendan Donovan's minor league statistics. But this year has been a breakout in Memphis. He spent a lot of time in Springfield. I want to say even 3 or 4 years in Springfield. He is breaking out this year for Memphis, batting .352 with 5 homers. Like I said, he was a career .279 hitter in the minors, but he is knocking on the door. Now, the issue is we have an excess of middle infielders, and that's why I think Nick Dunn, along with somebody else down there, could be moved at the deadline for somebody that we could use at the major league the major league level. Nick Dunn's a guy, though, I think he's in a tough spot because, like I said, we just have an excess of middle infielders. And I think giving him to a team, not giving him to a team, but getting something in return, obviously, but having him go to a different system, different situation, and get major league playing time. See, if he can produce at the major league level like he has been down there. Now, .352 is crazy. He's been phenomenal down there in Memphis. But you have Cesar Prieto down there. You have Thomas JC down there. Obviously, at the major league level, you have Gorman and Wynn. Those guys aren't going to move from those spots unless you put Gorman at the DH position. But with Nootbaar coming back, you kind of have to put and Donovan producing in left field. You kind of have to put Burleson at the DH. So I think the middle infield of Gorman and Wynn will be the kind of the duo moving forward here. But Prieto and Sajc, where do these guys fit and everything? And then you have Nick Dunn, obviously. So I think Nick Dunn is a guy that obviously could be moved at the deadline. If he ever gets his chance up here, I would love to see what he could do breaking out there in Memphis this year. Another guy with a couple homers on Sunday afternoon was Lucan Baker, now up to 19 homers on the year. He is batting .235. This is a perfect trade piece, in my opinion. He's never going to get and it's no disrespect to Lucan, but he's not just going to get a chance up here. We have so many bodies, especially at the DH and Goldie at first base, even though he's older. Lucan is an older guy too. I believe he's 26 now. He's a perfect trade piece, not on his own to like carry the trade, but throw in a guy with a lot of power. Some team's going to want that. Some team's going to want a guy with a lot of power. It's kind of like Moises Gomez a couple of years ago. Moises has fallen off a little bit, but guys like that, big, powerful guys with a lot of power, and you can put him at a DH spot or a first base. There's going to be a spot for him, and I think it's good to see him have 19 homers. The average has been down all year from what it was last year, but 235, 19 homers. Somebody will take it. Somebody will take it. The last guy for today is Matt Koperniak. Of course, you can guess it. A lefty outfielder. So it's really hard to find a spot for him right now as well, especially because we have a bunch of different outfielders that are trying to mismatch or, mix and match, I should say, different spots. But Koperniak has been, you can make a case, the best player in all of our minor league system this year, batting .325 with 9 homers and 33 RBIs. But where do you fit him? Where do you fit him in all this? And I don't want to trade this guy. He's a little older. In Memphis, 25 or 26 years old, but I do not want to trade this guy. But where do you fit him? Ideally, you have Brendan Donovan, you have Tommy Edman, and you have ideally Jordan Walker. Now, then you add Nootbaar to the mix. You have Burleson in an outfield body. Siani's been really great. I think obviously Siani's the odd guy out here because he's just great defensively. He made another tremendous catch in that Giants series, by the way, and ended up getting hurt because of it. But Matt Koperniak, where does he fit in all of this? I don't know. I don't know. I'd love to see him stick with the squad, not get traded at the deadline, and then maybe get a September call up and see, because we also have Victor Scott down there too, who's batting 190 and has not been producing as much as we thought he would, but he's still very young. Going a level below that, Matt Lloyd's been great. Nathan Church has been great. Those are a couple outfield pieces. Um, I don't know where Matt Kaprniak fits, just like I don't know where Nick Dunn fits in all of this. But Matt Kaprniak can absolutely play, and I would not be shocked at all if he's producing at the major league level for us or for somebody else in the next year or two. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. What's coming up this week, though? The Cardinals Braves, obviously, we're going to be covering that the entire week. St. Louis City versus Vancouver preview leading up to Saturday evening. And then, believe it or not, guys, the St. Louis Blues draft in these next couple weeks. So we need to be covering that. It might even be, I'd have to double check. It might even be this Friday with the draft, but I'll look more into that. We are going to be covering a couple prospects to look for going into the draft, and see where we can get with, I believe, that 16th pick going into this draft. So that's going to wrap it up for the Monday episode, though. Thank you guys for listening and viewing on Spotify and YouTube. Of course, make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Go follow on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram, X, and TikTok. We use Instagram and TikTok more than X, so go follow us over there first. And we would love to see you guys. We're next week going to be doing a Monday mailbag, so I'm going to be asking a question, leaving a question kind of portal there on Instagram, and I'm going to be answering your questions on next Monday. But looking forward to a great week. Hopefully the Cardinals continue their momentum trending upwards versus the Braves, and hopefully later this week St. Louis City can upset Vancouver in Vancouver. But thank you guys for listening, and we will see you guys tomorrow for a recap of the Cardinals versus Braves game 1 with my guy Lance Lynn on the mound.